there's no button that I can press where somebody digitally is going to go knock on doors.
Allow for me to come back 10 years.
The department's worried about gross profit on the job. What's up, guys? We're here at Win the Storm 2025. I'm here with Bobby Jones. We met at a sales training event in Miami not that long ago, and we approach our businesses completely different. And I'm actually jealous of what you've been able to do with your sales team. So we're going to focus a lot on don't build your business to have leads babies like I did. Do more what Bobby's going to talk about in this video. Bobby.
Yes, sir.
How do you not have leads babies in your company?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, first of all, thank you, bro, for having me on. And I also look at your company and the way that we could do, so many things different as well. So we don't got it all figured out, but in relation to, kind of creating an ecosystem that feeds itself, I think it's important that if you're going to have sales team members, that they have some responsibility in generating their own leads, whether that means going out door to door, knocking on doors, or creating referral partnerships. They have to be contributing to the lead flow so that we are building out an ecosystem. And again, one of the ways that I think, I sent that message is just by example, because when we were first coming up, like I was big into referral partnerships, showing up at community events, canvassing door to door around job sites. Like I did all of these things. So it's not me expecting them to do something that I'm not willing to go and do or have been willing to go and do.
Yeah, it was a big blind spot for me. I'm just thinking back to like the way I built my business, and we grew mainly from referral in the beginning, and then I started marketing, and then I got so obsessed with marketing, I just had my blinders on to that. All the people in the company could be bringing in more business, and I just, basically it was my responsibility to make the phone ring. And just like as leads would pick up, I would bring in another salesperson because now I had a surplus of leads to give that salesperson. Leads would pick up, surplus of leads. Okay, I wouldn't hire a sales rep until I had more leads to give them. Like I don't have leads. I can't hire a sales rep. I need more leads. When really that's incorrect. I could probably double my sales team right now with the same number of leads and keep my marketing budget the same if I would teach the guys how to do this. So if you think about your highest performing salesperson, where is he drumming up the most self-gen leads?
So right now, that's probably Jose Arroyo. If you guys look,
shout out Jose.
Yeah, if you look up Jose's page, you would think, I think people, when they look at his page, they think he might be an owner of the company, like a partner or something like that, because he embraces the brand and he creates content with that kind of a mindset. He's an ambassador for our local chamber of commerce. He's in a referral partner group. He's in, he just joined a leadership program here locally. He's quick to sponsor things. He does all this stuff on his own. It's crazy. He'll come to me and he'll be like, hey man, is it okay if I do this? I'm like, not only is it okay, but I'll actually pay for that, bro. You don't have to, I just need the person and the action and the efforts. I'll pay for that sponsorship. I just need somebody that's going to be there and show up. So, I think, the reason why this is so important, it goes back to what you were saying, Andy, it's we can, behind a computer or working with a marketing agency, we can create leads. We can create a flow of leads, right? But when that underperforms, there's no button that I can press where somebody digitally is going to go knock on doors. Where knocking on doors is going to create the quickest response on building out a lead flow, right? So if my guys know, hey, listen, at this point of the year, we're going to do everything we can to build out our leads because we know they dip at this time. However, know that they dip at this time, because that means that if you want to make sure you meet your goals and your requirements and make sure you make the money that you want, you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to knock on doors and you're going to have to leverage your pipeline.
For sure. I can't wait to show this to my salespeople, dude. It's going to be great. If for anything at all, that's what this podcast is for, to show my sales team. Because literally everything you're saying, leads are slow right now, but leads are always slow in July and August. Every year, it's a historical thing.
Yes.
And if I would have prepped July and August by setting my company up this way, we'd be attacking it a lot differently. What about commission structure? Do you pay them differently for self-gen versus office leads?
Yeah, so I think our pay structure is pretty traditional. I don't think it's super creative. I think it's effective. I think, we do a 10% commission on our book price. So our target price of what we want to be able to sell that project at, they'll get 10%. They're also able to discount all the way down 20%. okay? And we match dollar for dollar. So if they discount it by $2, $1 is the company's money, $1 is their commission, okay? So it gives them room to come down if they need to, but we also pay on an overage 50-50. So if they sell an $11,000 roof for $12,000, they're gonna make the 10% on the $11,000 and they're gonna make the 50% on the overage. So, so that's on the gross of the standard commission structure. But if they're self-gen, that same model applies, but the standard commission is going to be a 13% because they generated the lead themselves.
Right. And then do you have some guys that don't even want the office leads because they have such a oil pipeline?
No, I know that there are companies that do have that. I will say, like, our model is more of a just a hybrid, right? It's a combination of both. Like, I want to feed them as many leads as I can, but it's because they're out there grinding and getting their own leads that I'm so motivated to keep that pipeline full too. Mm-hmm. But it also just, it allows me to not be so dependent, because like if in the earlier days, if sales were down, and my guys weren't going to go out there and generate, well, then I would have to rehash their deals, close business to get us back to where our numbers would have to be. That means I can't be focusing on more top of the funnel stuff at that time. So the fact that they are creating their own pipelines and leads allows me to focus primarily on that top of the funnel stuff.
Yeah, I love it, man, because you do all the marketing. You said it. I still do all the things. I still have a marketing budget. We have agencies. We do this. We do that. But my sales reps are also part of the lead gen problem, so that we as owners and marketing departments don't just solely take on the burden of lead gen.
That's
we
right.
spread it around the whole sales team.
Yeah.
As far as appointments in a day, what's the sweet spot per rep?
2 to 3. Yeah, 2 to 3 for us. I mean, you know, if it depends on, you know, if it depends on the lead, because, you know, if it's a strong referral, my guys are in and out in an hour and a half. Close the deal, you know, and we're moved on. But if it's a cold lead that just got canvassed, we could be in that house 3 hours. So 3 times 3, that's 9 hours. That's a full shift. I don't want to exhaust my people, and we try to keep it around 2 to 3.
What about onboarding new reps? Do you have that pretty systematized? Like, what's your process? You have a new rep start on Monday. What's it look like?
We do have it systematized. I will tell you, we're constantly revisiting that. We're also revisiting it from a pay structure perspective. We've experimented with all kinds of different, you know, things that were maybe like, I don't want to say probationary, but like introductory, because especially if somebody's coming from another industry where it's like, oh, commission only, you know, I eat what I kill is cool, but I'm coming from an industry that gave me a salary plus commission. We've looked at different things, because I'm big on recruiting from outside of the industry.
100%.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hiring other sales reps from other roofing companies. Just too many bad practices.
I just had an air traffic controller start yesterday as a new sales rep. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. You gotta let me know how that goes, man. That's cool.
Do you pay, because we're talking about onboarding a rep, and I can tell you've experimented, so have I. Do you have a set system as far as how to pay them when they start now, and everybody's the same, or you treat everyone different depending on their situation?
So we do have a set system, although we do give, past the training period, we do give them an option for a salary plus a lower commission, or a all commission position or pay structure.
Okay,
right?
so how do you pay a new rep? What is it?
So they would be on a salary at a 6% commission, or they would be 10% commission. Now the training period, they're paid for that first 4 weeks on the training period alone.
So it's a 4-week training period.
Yep.
And you're just paid salary while you learn.
Yes.
And then at the end of the 4 weeks, you're expected to be able to sell roofs.
Correct.
So what are you training them on in that 4 weeks, and how do you look at it? Do you have it like ordered, what you train them first? Like what do you?
Yeah, so my sales manager has this pretty well dialed in, and I'll try to remember it because it's a 4-week training model. We built it together, but it's been a little while since I visited it. If I remember correctly, the first whole week is all product knowledge, and not just product knowledge, but like knowledge of roof systems, understanding what it is in the sense of like what's the anatomy of a roof, right? And then product knowledge on the materials that we use. And then the next 2 weeks are all sales focused, okay? They're gonna do a full week of training, a full week of shadowing other sales reps inside homes on leads, where they're pretty quiet, just listening and watching the process unfold. And then that final week is us shadowing them. So they run the leads, we shadow them. And it's not just my sales manager, it could be me, it could be my other salespeople. We all kind of participate in that, in the onboarding process.
Yeah, we always say that if the timing of when you're going to be successful is how quick you can learn the roofing, because
Yeah.
like we have a good sales process. We hire for, you're probably the same way. We hire people.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's what you like to hire
It was
from outside the
attitude
industry.
first,
You're
yeah.
just hiring for good people, genuine people that are going to get along with people.
Yeah.
If you're that and you want to learn, you're going to be successful here. What percentage of guys don't work out that you've brought on in the past?
You know, it's one of those things where, man, it's funny because I used to let my pride get in the way on a hire, you know, and it's like, man, I just believe in him. And then sometimes it goes from I believe in him or her to I don't want to look like a fool for hiring this person to the rest of my team. So I'm like holding on longer than I should because I know like, and so now it's pretty quick. I mean, if I want their success more than they do, they got to go.
Yeah.
If I want them to succeed more than they do, they got to go, man. It's just kind of as simple as that. Time-wise, you know, we keep that. It's not really defined, if I'm being honest. But between me and my sales manager, we speak pretty often about anybody who's new, and we make decisions pretty quickly if they're not going to put the effort in.
Well, now you make them quickly. I'm sure you didn't always in the
No,
past. And
definitely
same,
not.
Like I learned that lesson. I view it like a girlfriend. Like if you're thinking that an employee's not working out and you're thinking you should probably let them go, but you don't, you messed up and you're just delaying the inevitable. Like if
Yeah.
you think you should break up with your girlfriend, break up with her right now, dude, because you shouldn't even be thinking that way.
Yeah, there's a line by Brian Tracy I love, and it goes to everything in your life, right? If you could go back 5 years from now, or if you could start from the beginning right now with anything that you're doing, relationship, your business, your friendships, whatever, and not do one of those things or remove something that's currently happening, then why are you keeping them in your life? And so like I constantly do that audit, and I'm pretty happy to say today, I'm pretty happy with every part of those things, but it goes extremely true for your business. If you wouldn't go back and hire that person again, then why the hell are they on your team?
Yeah. For 100%. This is a tough question, but culture is so important. And I know you have good culture, and like I have great culture. I've literally never had people quit. Like
Yeah.
they love working here. And culture in the sales team is what retains them. Like in the roofing industry, a lot of people talk about they're too scared for a rep to do too well because then they just go start their own business. I don't know how to tell someone how to build a good culture, because I just think it's like innate to who I am and why I started a business and just what I'm trying to do. I think that's why we have a good culture. But like, is it possible to teach someone how to build good culture? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think, so two things. One, the first like 7 years of our business, we had 0 turnover. Looking back, we should have had turnover. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I take a lot of pride in the fact that I've had a lot of team members that we currently have since the beginning. But the main thing is like some of the changes, like I mentioned earlier, when we switched over to a self-gen model with our salespeople, a few of the salespeople that I had on my team at that time didn't adapt and they quit. Okay. But I stand by that decision so much that I'm so happy that we did that. And I think that I probably prolonged making that decision out of fear that people would quit. And I just think that we can remain in a paralysis of that. If you believe in something, it is your responsibility to make those changes, and some will and some won't, and they got to go. Like if they're going to leave, then so be it. So I'll go back to the saying that I said to you a little while ago. It's easier to give birth than to raise from the dead. If something is too far gone, it is really hard to bring that back and get it to where you want it to be. I've had salespeople that were my best salespeople out there. Dude, one time I'm talking to he was my highest performing salesperson. We're in a sales meeting and we're talking about Drip Edge. And he's like, I have a question. What is Drip Edge? He's been with me 2 years, Andy, and he crushes it in a home. But dude, what do you mean, what is Drip Edge, dude? Like, what are you talking about? How could you possibly be educating our homeowners at the level that we expect you to educate our homeowners if you don't even know what Drip Edge is? Now, that's not the reason I fired him, but I did end up firing that guy. He was my #1 salesperson at the time, and I think that we, as business owners, sometimes get caught up in that. We're like, but if I make this decision that I know is better for the entire big picture vision of this company, I'm gonna lose this person, and for that reason I don't. Then again, kind of going back to what I was saying before, if you wouldn't go back and hire this person again, why are they on your team?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I think culture is built from the top down, but it's also nurtured from the bottom up. So if I'm not feeding those entry level people, the people that are at the, the closest touch point to my customer, then why am I like, why, if they're not breathing the way that I'm breathing about our responsibility to our customers, then it's going to be hard to have the expectations from them that I want to have, right? So we talk about the moral obligation. The moral obligation to me is the biggest hack for culture, because if you are the best at what you do, it is no longer about your top line revenue. It is no longer about your closing ratio. It is no longer about any of these things. It's about serving the person on the other side of this transaction. And if you're able to communicate that and articulate that to your team members and get your team members to understand that this idea of serving people is in their interest and their best interest, then it becomes a responsibility to do our jobs, right? So when I talk to my project managers and I tell them, hey guys, listen, I know that it's an extra step, but every single day we need to make sure that the catch-all is up and that our banners are in place on every single job, no matter what. Now I know it's an added step, but come with me. I want to explain to you why this matters so much, right? So I explain to them why, this contractor and that contractor and these contractors, all local, don't have any branding on their job site. And when people drive by it, they look at the job site and they're like, who the hell is doing, I wonder who's doing that roof, or I wonder who's doing that roof. I never want that question to ever be asked about a Brightside job ever, right? Why? Because if they know who did it, when this job is done and it looks as beautiful as we know it's gonna look, I want them to be able to track that back when it's their time to do this, right? And when my guys come back around and knock on doors, I want them to be like, oh, we saw your job site, not, oh, that was you guys, right? Like it changes the conversation for my salespeople. So you doing this extra little step will help our team members acquire the customers in this area. And customer acquisition is our number one goal as a roofing company at every level of our team members. Production, sales, office admins, production admins, doesn't matter. That's our number one goal.
Yeah, how important is production when it comes to the belief in the sales rep's mind about what they're selling?
Dude, it's so
Because
funny,
this to
bro.
me is something that 90% of roofing companies are missing, and they don't realize the power that they're not giving their sales reps because the jobs don't go right.
Right. Dude, it's crazy. I mean, that's my story. I started out in canvassing for another roofing company. I did really good in canvassing. They promoted me into sales and they said, we are the best at what we do. I was like, what? We're the best? I'm gonna crush it, right? I went out to the market, started knocking on doors, started selling jobs. I'm killing it, right? And then I see the jobs being done and I'm like, you've gotta be kidding me, right? I was so embarrassed, dude. And I have a pretty crazy story and a criminal background, but I felt more of a burglar, robbery, thief than I felt it more in that moment than I ever did when I was running the streets doing the bad stuff. I felt so guilty and embarrassed, and I couldn't believe that like I had made all these promises and then, this showed up and like we're not following any of the manufacturer's requirements. We're not doing anything that I said we were gonna do. And I don't even know who these guys are. This isn't the same roofer that was on the job yesterday or last week. Like, who are these people, And why does he have 2 different shirts on for 2 different other roofing companies on this crew, And so like, for me, I was so sick to my stomach that I never wanted that to be our experience. And when we first started Brightside, it was kind of funny how my production guys came to me one day and they were like, hey man, you put a lot more effort into the sales guys than you do the production guys. And that kind of rubs us the wrong way. And I was like, I am so glad you came to me and said this. Let's talk about this for a second, right? So I showed them, I was like, who has the brand new trucks? They were like, well, we do. I was like, right, they don't have vehicles. In the beginning, my salespeople, they were running around in their own cars. They were taking telescopic ladders out of the back of little, Honda Civics and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. And then who has like all of the equipment to make sure the job is as easy as it possibly can be? And they were like, well, we do. I was like, I promise you, it is not my intention, and I will be very intentional about spending more time with you guys around the role that you guys are playing in this thing. But understand that I'm investing all of my money into where it matters the most, is in delivery of this promise to the homeowners of what we're saying in a home. That to me, I think is the biggest part of this, because if I ask my salesperson to go knock on the doors around the job site, I don't want them to have to wait 3 or 4 days so that the neighbors can forget about all the trash that was blowing around on their yard and in the street and all these things. I want them to be able to walk next door right during the job with pride and be able to say, yes, that's our guys right next door. Because that's different. That it's no longer confidence, it's conviction. It's an undeniable belief that we are the absolute best option for our homeowners, and it's our responsibility to scream it from the mountaintops.
Dude, 100%. I think that's our biggest superpower in sales. It's not good salespeople, it's not good sales process. It's that we all really believe we're the best. And when we tell homeowners that, they believe it because we actually believe it. But we've gone through growth spurts at times where production gets a little hairy, it gets a little fucked up. I have to dive in and pay attention to production. Like, that's what's in my head. Like, we can't let this slip, because then what you're doing to your salespeople is you're making them lie to people every day to make money. Nobody can do that long term. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's true, man. And I mean, you know, we know how important 5-star Google reviews are for, you know, the SEO stuff. Obviously, homeowners are going to look at that kind of stuff, and our salespeople are going to bring that up in a home. That's the result of production. That's the result of production. Communication, that's our core value number 1, is communicate, right? So communication is gonna be key in that. The thing that we know is that no matter how well we deliver on the installation itself, a homeowner could still give us a 1-star review if we don't communicate properly, show up on time, clean up properly. So we could nail that part. The part that they hired us for, we could crush it and still get a 1-star review. So we have to combine both the experience and the workmanship install to get that actual delivery of the promise. Because again, you know, listen, we all know homeowners don't know whether something's installed properly or not. You know, like, let's face it, we might educate them to a high level when we're meeting with them for the first time, but they don't know. You know, they think they know. And again, I'm trying to be respectful here, but the truth is, like, they don't know the formulas for ventilation and how much needs to be done, or they wouldn't be asking for the power fan on the back of the house over the ridge vent, right? So like, we have a responsibility to knowing what's best. That's going to happen on that roof regardless, but we also have to deliver on the experience, or we're not going to make a happy customer.
Yeah, dude, hearing you talk about all this, it's no surprise you're fucking killing it. What's your revenue size?
We're about 5 million.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
you sound...
We're in a small market. I mean, to put that in perspective, we're the largest residential retail roofing contractor in 2 of the 3 counties in Delaware. Small state, but...
Dude, but just the mind you have for production, the systems, the way you look at sales, I mean, dude, I'm going to go change my whole sales team based on what you're telling me. Not let them go, not let them go, but change the structure of it.
Understood.
You know, you need to have sales guys going out and finding work.
Yeah.
You said this way before. You gave me a super long answer, and I forgot to bring it up. But it sounded like you alluded to you've let some people go that were with you from the beginning. How long did you wait before you actually made the move and did it?
Too long.
Everybody I talk to that's been in business a while has the same story. You've had to let go key people that were with you in the beginning, which is obviously hard to do. Nobody wants to do it, but it needed to be done. And in my couple examples, I waited way too fucking long.
Yeah. Well, listen, first of all, bro, look, both you and I have a comeback story, right? So like, it's in our experience to want the best for people. We're going to give people the benefit of the doubt because shit, we know what's possible. We know what's possible. We know that people can turn things around, right? So I think we're wired to give people the benefit of the doubt probably too long than we're supposed to, which is why we have to have people around us that are going to help balance that. My sales manager, bro, he is 0 tolerance, right? So he's like, hey man, it's time to let this person go. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, but you know, remember when he said that one time? He's like, bro, I don't care what he said. The numbers aren't there, right? So it's like, you know, I have to trust my people in that regard. I think the problem is like, I had a family member. I still work with him. I got him a job with my distributor right afterwards, and he's killing it there. He actually just got into outside sales, and I love that for him. But like, he didn't see it, man. And honestly, like, there were times where I felt like, you know, he thought I was just sitting on a pile of money like Scrooge McDuck and just, you know, like letting whatever problems we were currently experiencing happen without my like interest in fixing it. And I think he's learned since then, but like, I think I tolerated that too long, you know, but it was a family member and you know, whatever. I think my new model is hire fast, fire fast, man. I have to protect this culture at all costs now. because what we have right now is the best we've ever had. We have such a beautiful environment. Not only does our culture create an incredible work environment for our team members, but the moment that we whisper that we're hiring in our community, it's like somebody just opened the floodgates to applications and resumes that come flying in. That's a huge compliment to what, and again, I give my team credit because culture isn't built with an individual, it's built with a team. So, you know, I give my team credit, but we have to protect that at all costs now. So if somebody's gonna do the wrong thing, we had somebody that dipped into the company card last year and used it for personal use, and I had to fire him. And he begged me to keep his job, man, and said it would never happen again. And I'm like, we can't trust you, bro. Like, and if I can't trust you, how can my homeowner trust you? And how can my other team members trust you? Like, we just can't, there's no path forward. I wish you the best, but there's no path forward here. You know, I have to protect this at all costs.
100%. You're speaking soon, so I'm going to let
Yeah,
you go.
yeah,
But
yeah.
before we wrap up, what do you want to do with your business? Like, do you think long term? What's your vision? What do you got?
I think I want my business to be extremely appealing to private equity. That doesn't mean that I'm going to make that move. You know,
We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's obviously something I'm not ignoring. But I had a good friend of mine with G Fidel Roofing. They just sold to IHS. This is all public knowledge now, so I can talk about that. Good friend of mine. They're having a great experience. They're still very involved. And this just happened, 45 minutes away from me.
Well, that's
So,
IHS's motto, right? Is
Yeah.
they want the owner to stay and be excited,
Yeah.
right? More of a partnership rather
Correct.
than a
Exactly.
acquisition, right?
Exactly. So, I wouldn't be completely opposed to something like that, but I also have no need to do anything, which is so great for many of us, is that we're not in this position where we have to sell, right? So, because, I know what this will produce over the lifetime of this business. I'm not ignorant to that. So, that it would have to be a pretty significant offer to make me make that move.
Right. Bobby, you're
Yeah.
the man. You're going to go for?
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man.
For
Thanks
sure.
for having me on.